Talk about it all here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button.
You know, one thing about Jaden that I've tried to talk to him about is tightening his chin strap. Because he doesn't tighten it, so every time he gets hit, it looks like his helmet's all messed up. And it's like, oh, God, he just got rocked.
For the win! Caught! It's gone! LSU does it!
After fucking Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, boys. Are you kidding me?
Well, LSU fan came and stuck his spike in my booty.
That motherfucker hard!
Fan brought his 2 grandkids by and literally was just 30 seconds, just wanted to say thank you for the team and the season and what you did and how much it means to everybody here is truly what makes LSU special.
Coach Kelly, we're official. Finally, I'm
Get a
telling you.
chance to meet you.
Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. It's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question. I thought, my gosh, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go! All right. Big day. Big day. Nice.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you. Thanks, Jordy. Thank you for the time.
Well, I'm gonna clone. Whoa! Oh yeah, I'm live over here. Yeah.
Good morning and welcome in.
I was just talking about cloning.
Here on this Wednesday. Yes, Biggest has already cloned this morning.
So no, it's gonna be a good one.
I mean, what an interaction started off here early. OMG, I'm gonna clone. Go ahead, clone. You earned it. Thank you, Biggest.
I don't think he saw you there.
Responding to himself. But yeah, no, I've realized this is the wrong shirt to wear with this chair.
That's the only time it's the wrong time to wear it.
Shout out to Roback, though.
And that out.
It's a nice shirt. But yeah, no, I'm kind of blending in here. I'm kind of cloning into the chair. I'm blending in here into the chair. But yes, it is Hump Day, Wednesday. And guess who we have here in studio? Speaking of
humping,
the professional humper himself.
Christian has made his way back into the studio. It's been forever since you've seen the young man. We're going to get an update with our Christian Mingle segment later, as Christian talks about his dating adventures, the young man.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, LSU football media availability yesterday. Media got to watch the entire practice yesterday. And then obviously last night, LSU baseball dominates and wins 11-1 over UNO, as there were a handful of teams that didn't do that. If you saw here in the SEC, 2 teams fall on the midweek. Well, it's probably more than that, but 2 teams that I saw specifically. Tennessee falls in 10 innings. Texas goes down in 12. So that's 2 midweeks. Tennessee finally gets that number 1 spot. They wanted it so bad. Been begging for the number 1 spot. Why is LSU number 1? Why is Tennessee not number 1? They get it in this most recent poll, and then watch what happens. ETSU, the Bucks take them down 8-7 in extra innings last night. Go Tigers 195 asks, did Christian get punked at practice again? Anybody punk you this time? I know they stole your roster last time.
That's how I got this roster sheet.
You stole it back?
I lost mine.
Right.
And then I saw one on the table and I took it.
There you go.
Could be yours.
It could have just been the one that you
Or you were starting a perpetual cycle of thieving.
Yes.
It was not mine because it was too windy. It was super windy Saturday's practice. Like it was, if there's highlights of quarterbacks missing throws, it's because the wind felt like a hurricane.
Yeah.
Like it was, yeah. So it probably got blown off the table and gone forever. So I found another one.
There you go. Yeah, it looks in great condition.
Yeah.
You handed it to me this morning, and I was like, oh, my God. It looks like a paper towel.
Toilet paper.
And, yes, as Andrew Messina says in the chat, Texas also lost a bullpen arm last night.
Ooh.
One of their go-to guys out of the pen. But, yeah, a good night for LSU baseball. And here is that Tennessee loss. God, they're fired up.
First and second, 2 outs, 3-2 count. Thinks he draws a walk, gets rung up, and the crowd goes.
Play it again. I love it. Here we go. I love when an umpire rings them up. Just. Did you see the fans behind home plate? The fans to kind of to the right behind the Tennessee logo. They see him get rung up, and they.
Hey! What's fired up? Oh, hell yeah.
Going back and forth. But
Hell yeah.
No. Midweeks do matter. It's baseball. Anything can happen. LSU takes care of business, wins 11-1 with, some of those runs coming off of some very impressive home runs where you saw Bear Jones send one 450 feet, landed 450 feet away from home plate, where it was just an absolute missile off the bat.
When he gets a hold of one.
I tell you what.
Because he can hit him out without all of his. He's just so strong. But when
Right.
you go middle.
Oh. Yeah, no, I mean, he crushed it.
And that got the parade started.
Absolutely crushed it. Yeah, I think it was 114 off the bat, 450 feet away from home plate, that ball lands. And then Aaron Beatty decides to give it a go himself after he strikes out earlier in the game. And kind of I will say a big moment. It wasn't a big moment in the weight of the game, but he had a good opportunity, strikes out. Then he finally gets a throw down from the catching position to get an out at second, and then he turns it into a home run the next time he gets to the plate. So, I mean, it was good to see him kind of –
Selly, too.
Yeah, it's a good one. But it was nice to see him get kind of in a positive rhythm, how he's been kind of struggling and things like that over the last couple of weeks. He turns around, he gets the throw down from catcher, and then hits an absolute bomb off the bat. But that swing, I mean, I tell you what, it's a pretty good-looking one. And then Sabrion, you are very correct in the chat. Ethan Fry is hard to keep on the bench. He comes in, pinch hitting for, I think it was Josh Pearson. So his first at-bat of the night, sends one out 370 or so feet. The third home run of the night for LSU.
And he gets another at-bat, and guess what he does there? Homers again.
Come on.
2 homers, and he did. He came in for Pearson, who was 1 for 1.
Yep.
And then you have Ethan Fry come in 2 for 2, 2 home runs, 4 RBI.
And then you see Derek Curiel. He was 0 for 4 on the night. Finally gets a double later on in the game to extend his streak to 22 straight games. where he has got on base.
No walks.
And then, he did not get walked. He was 0 for 4 going into that double, and then right after that double, Bear Jones hit the double of his own to score Derek Curiel. Biggest with a super chat in the chat. Oh, I just cloned, he says.
Oh, $1.99
We
clone?
appreciate that, Biggest. Give that a nice little thumbs up. It was his third super on a live stream. Wonder where else he's cloned at. But then you saw Jaden Newt get the start. He had 6 strikeouts last night, 5 or 6. And I thought he got into a nice rhythm. It was a little at the start of the game. He had a couple walks. He was a little here and there, but he really settled into a nice rhythm. Lloyd, what did you see?
Yes, we were talking yesterday about who we thought might get a start, and Jade Newt was on that short list or long list because it was a laundry list of names where you thought you might see, them rotate through a bunch of guys, and Jade Newt gets the start and goes longer than I thought he would have. Where obviously coming off of a Tommy John surgery 2 years ago, right before the year, which seems to be a theme for LSU back up 2 years ago, where he lost a good bit of arms that weren't able to throw. And it feels like this is his first real year back because I think he threw in 1 game last year. And then you see this year he's finally able to get a start. Goes 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned, only 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So I think the most important stat line of that is the 4 innings and LSU being able to, that's basically half the game if you're going to 10-run everybody.
Right.
And so he gets to go 4. We thought Jacob Myers might get a go. He does. He goes 1 2/3. 4 strikeouts and only the 1 walk.
It was nice to see.
Which that's massive because you can see the strikeout stuff.
Yeah.
If he's able to kind of hone in the walks and keep that strikeout, keep the strikeout numbers high and eliminate the walks, then you have another arm in the pen that you can trust. Because last year that was his big bugaboo. Led the team in strikeouts with or is it the country? It was.
I don't remember what, but it was quite a high number.
At Nichols, it might have been the conference that he led them in strikeouts with over 115. I think it was 120, if I'm pretty sure. But he also led the conference in walks. And so you can't have one without the other,
right,
which means you can't really play. And if you can start going 4-1 though, that ratio plays because that would be 8-2 and then 12-3, and you're perfectly fine with that. So seeing him be able to get that strikeout stuff and still find some command, which is why you have to love the pitching staff and the coaching, because you see Kate Anderson talk about having their pitching coach back for the second year,
right,
and how much of a difference that's been for him. And it's the first time Jay's had a pitching coach back for his second year at LSU,
right?
And they've worked together before, so he knows what he's getting. And then you have Cooper come in, 1 1/3, 2 hits, 1 strikeout, ho hum, gets you out 17 pitches, no earned. So all in all, from a pitching staff performance, that is as 7 innings, that feels like that's as good as you can really do with guys that you haven't seen go extended spots. And that's probably Myers' longest outing of the season. Coop being able to keep the walks down and get the save, quote unquote, even though it wasn't a save opportunity. But Newt going 4 is impressive. But when you have an offense that puts up 11, you expect to win, and now have won how many straight? The longest winning streak since 1986.
Wow. I think it was 12 going into Missouri, so that would have been 16 wins. They are now 21-1, 22-1.
16 longest winning streak since 2017, where they won 17 in a row, and this is the best start to a season since 1986.
There
we
go.
21-1.
Yeah, no, it's a good start.
It doesn't hurt to see everybody else drop around you too.
Not at all.
About to play a Texas baseball team. I don't know if that's good or bad that
right,
they lost, but they got all they could handle from, San Antonio?
Yep, UTSA, the Roadrunners.
Beep, beep, beep.
But yeah,
Frank Wilson.
You forget about Denver Harris.
Yeah.
You forget about midweek games. You can kind of push them aside. But, man, I tell you what, it's nice to be sitting here talking about LSU handling business in the midweek and not saying, oh, they dropped a bad one to UNO.
It doesn't matter.
When you've got Tennessee and Texas. I think Ole Miss dropped the midweek as well. If I'm not incorrect, I think they played Southern Miss, which is a much better program.
That's a tough team to have one year midweek every year.
But yeah, when you see teams dropping midweeks, it's nice to know LSU went out there, handled business, got it over in 7 innings. Now they get to prepare for this weekend, which is going to be a big one. Obviously Texas falls to UTSA last night in 12 innings. So LSU ends 2 innings early. and Texas goes 3 extras.
Yes, that was impressive.
Getting ready for this weekend. So it's a lot of, some of these things you talk, like we talk about midweeks, all of these things are going to weigh into what happens this weekend. So it was good to see LSU kind of handle business and their conference opponent for this weekend not do the same.
Have to restart the streak, but don't start it this week. They had 17 in a row, Texas.
Really?
So that would have been
They were streaking as well.
Yeah, that would have been a great headline to write, and now you can't write it anymore. Yeah.
Later.
I'm sure somebody already had it written up.
Yeah, probably had it. That sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, they had the whole thing done.
Win streaks.
It's going to be a battle of win streaks here in Austin. Nope. As the Roadrunners take it away.
Andrew Stuckey with a home run solo shot, top of the 12th. But yeah, the biggest thing to take away from it is they went 12 innings.
Yes.
LSU, like you said, LSU finished early, only used 3 pitchers. Let's see how many Texas had to use. And apparently there was an injury.
Yes, they had a bullpen injury. I did see that on social media last night as I was scrolling on through. But yeah, Texas goes 12 innings and loses 8-7. Devin Johnson, I'm going to be at that Saturday game in Austin for sure. I expect that purple and gold to travel very well.
Oh, yeah.
Very well, especially this momentum that LSU is rolling. I mean, this is 2 midweeks in a row where they go out and they just throttle the team across from them and just go out, take care of business, and look good doing it. Where last week against Xavier, they go out, they win 18-2. They score 17 runs in the first 4 innings, or the first 3 innings, I think. 18 in the first 4. And then last night, obviously, 11-1, get it over in 7 innings versus UNO. Good to see.
Yeah, they threw 6 arms.
Texas did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they doubled LSU up.
Cade Bing went 5. Ruger, what a name.
Wow.
Ruger Riojas went 4. Cody Howard went 2. And then Drew Rarick couldn't even get out the start. 0 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 earned, 2 walks.
Wow.
4 batters faced 15 pitches, not an out recorded.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is also nice to see. LSU threw 3 arms.
Mm-hmm.
1 for 4 innings, 1 for I'll even do the pitch totals for you guys. I mean, like they didn't have to extend anybody too long.
No, Jacob Myers had 29 pitches,
Yep.
and Cooper Williams had 17, while Newt threw 67.
Right, so Newt doesn't even get to 70 pitches on the night, and Texas is having to throw 6 arms to get through a midweek game that they don't win. That's a comforting feeling going into this weekend, but it could also be not comforting because it could have been like a little get-right mindset moment for the Longhorns, and maybe they'll have a different mindset going into Friday.
Well, because you saw that with LSU early in the year. Like, that's what happened.
Shake-back.
Yeah, there was a couple of shake-back moments where it's like, okay. And the biggest one came in a win, but it was a comeback win in a midweek game where it was, okay, we got to stop playing with our food here a little bit and kind of realize how we could play some ball. And LSU's been rolling ever since. These losses can be a wake-up call and kind of get you right going into a weekend as opposed to, oh, we suck, we're going to get our breaks beat in by LSU.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's more of a, okay, like we'd won 17 in a row, restart the streak. LSU's coming to town, get your mind right, boys, because it gives coach every lesson is more valuable than a loss. And you learn it just a little bit differently, a little bit louder.
100%.
And so it probably would be a nice little wake-up call. Austin, they get to play at home, but probably not as going in there with their chest as big as before. And LSU just keeps rolling. You can play on the moon.
Yeah, no, I mean it's gonna be a good one. This weekend is going to be everything that you probably hope for in a top 10 matchup between 2 very good programs, historically good programs with LSU and Texas. And this is Schlossnagle. This is a big moment for him at Texas, where he can have LSU come to town, handle them, get some more momentum going after this midweek game where they lose in 12 innings. But LSU wants to continue their hot streak and kind of really cement themselves as the premier team this season of this sport by going into Austin and taking care of business versus a very good Longhorn baseball team. So I'm excited to watch them go this weekend because it's going to be special.
Yeah, Missouri wasn't really the test that I think you expect from an SEC series, right? Like LSU kind of got thrown a bone after what they had to go through last year when they were traveling. I believe the first 2 weeks of the SEC schedule, they started off in such a bad predicament with the power of schedule that they had to go through. Then they get Missouri this year, and now you get to travel to Austin. We talked about it yesterday, but kind of showcase the SEC and what baseball is, because Texas has been adjacent to it and been fancied themselves, a baseball program. Now you have LSU coming down in a conference matchup that it's this is going to be awesome. It's awesome for both schools.
Yes.
I don't care that LSU has to travel to Austin. I think it's just another way to showcase the game and have a big-time event around college baseball, which only it feels like continues to grow. Because college football is there, and it feels like that it's almost snuck up and taken the number 2 spot in America as the most popular sport in the country. And college baseball continues to make this rise, whether it be more coverage, or whether it just be teams that are better, or just it feels like there's more resources put into it. And I think it does have a lot to do with social media and how you can cover college baseball on the internet versus Major League Baseball, who does almost runs from it. And college baseball, you have all of these accounts that are traveling to games, are covering games. It's the emphasis put on it has been great for the sport. And now you have matchups like LSU Texas at the end of March.
Yep.
That it will play probably dividends for seeding and whatnot. But regardless, it's just you get more high level baseball.
Yeah, no, I mean this is in the the beginning of March Madness. March Madness is getting started this weekend, and that's when you're going to have this big time LSU baseball, Texas baseball matchup. The games are at 7 on Friday, 6 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. So normal times, it's going to be exciting to sit down on Friday at 7 p.m. and watch that. And then on Saturday, you'll have the baseball game at 6. It'll probably set you up right on time for LSU women's basketball at 9:15 to get you nice and ready to hopefully watch back-to-back wins for baseball and women's basketball. So don't forget, every single day, we are built and brought to you by RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois and his team, commercial, residential, all of it. They do great work. Check them out on Instagram. They put good videos and pictures out of some of the work they've done here in Baton Rouge. And then always our phone line is brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center, Charlie Harvey, Jason Ramazan, and his team. And then every single day, you see it, we're part of the G Squad. Gordon McKernan, Louisiana's big truck injury lawyer, and the NIL king here in Louisiana, not just for LSU, but universities all throughout the state. You know the phone number. It's on the hat. Christian, drop it on your head.
The new hat.
No, the old hat. No, I'm just kidding. You can put the new one on. 888-8888. Get Gordon. Get it done. The website is getgordon.com. There it is. Look at the young man throw that hat on. So, Christian, now that you've got the hat on and you're in the spotlight, we're going to zoom in on your face here.
Okay.
And we're going to find out. Everyone's been dying to know
interrogation
what's been going on with our Christian Mingle segment.
Okay.
So before we get into football, because we will, Christian was at practice yesterday and Saturday and throughout the week last week, so we're going to ask him about that as well. But first we want to find out if he's gone on any dates in the last week or so since we've last spoken, and how real and serious is this relationship?
Well,
how many times have you seen her since the last time we talked?
What was that, Friday, Thursday?
Last time we spoke was Thursday.
Twice.
Okay.
Yesterday and
St. Patrick's Day?
No, Saturday.
What'd
St.
we
Patrick's
do?
Day I was in Metairie.
Okay. So Saturday, what was on the
docket?
Schedule? Yeah, it was on the docket.
Just lunch after football practice.
There you go.
And then, hung out after, and then, today though we have a date today.
Oh, so we hung out yesterday. You're doing back-to-back again?
She gets you on these back-to-back.
It's gotten to the point where it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're more serious now.
Yeah, we are. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are y'all Facebook official?
Is she in your bio on Instagram?
I don't even think I have Facebook. No, I do have Facebook. I'm not on it though.
Oh yeah.
Is she in my bio on Instagram? No, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's a back in the day. That's how you knew it was official.
Okay.
Because you could have single in a relationship, it's complicated on Facebook. So you'd always
So
be
you get in
like,
trouble
oh, you can
like
see him
that.
change it to
Right.
in a relationship. You're like, oh.
Oh wow.
Could you get notified by it? Like, oh. like,
Oh, yeah, it was a
pops up
big
in your
deal.
mess-
Yeah, it was a big
Oh.
deal if the relationship status changed.
Wish that was still a thing.
I mean, it is still a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you
just
can
not as
still
big
do
of
it,
a
it's
yeah,
just-
it's not as big of a deal. There was no Instagram, there was no TikTok,
Right. Now
there was
it's
no
like-
Twitter.
You know, the hard launch when you post them on your story or
Yeah.
Instagram post or whatever. That's the big deal now. So back-to-back dates.
Yeah.
What's on the plans tonight? Is
And
it dinner?
We have another. Well, okay, she won't.
She's a scheduler.
Yeah.
We
This
are
is probably good for Christian because it's hard to get him places on
down.
time.
we are now on the same softball team together.
Oh.
Intramural.
Okay.
So like we're locked in until the end of the season.
Yeah,
At least.
you
Oh,
can't-
what a team riff
You can't screw this up, Christian.
for the team.
Yeah.
Right.
What if she
Oh.
gets hurt?
Who, me or her?
Her. You're gonna be like, oh, I have to take care of her. Like you'd be the first one over there.
What? Oh,
Like,
you
you're
mean
in
like
the-
at the game?
Yeah.
You're in the dugout. She takes a pitch to the cranium. Are you sprinting
know.
out of the dugout?
What if like
I don't know. I feel like there'd be more than just me sprinting at the dugout if that happened in intramural softball.
Maybe. We're just trying to figure out.
I'm just
your
waiting
love.
for like an ACL pop and like you have to take care of her at her house.
Carry her off the field.
Yeah.
That would be bad.
Go to the hospital.
Yep.
And I know of quite a few kids that have torn their ACLs. From
Oh, it
intramurals
happens
this
all
year.
the
course.
time.
Yeah.
I mean,
You get-
a
you
lot
get
of
out
these
there
people
out of
haven't
shape.
played a sport since high school.
Right.
And they're getting
And they
out
weren't
there.
good at it then.
Yeah. And they're thinking that they're going to be able to be
Especially
exactly how
you
it
have
was.
girls out there trying to impress them, go a little bit harder than you should. Girls are probably going a little harder for guys out there. I mean,
goes both
Christian's on the
ways.
team. She's gonna try to. Did she play softball in high school?
Sabrion
She played
Green.
it for a little bit.
Sabrion Green in the chat. Christian, if she does you wrong, I got a cousin that's about 330. Good girl, though. She'll do you right, especially during tax season.
Dude, she would suffocate me.
Just do
That is awesome.
Good girl though.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, Christian's locked in.
Yep.
I can't wait for the demise.
Yeah, it's awesome. Biggest Christian nailed the whale.
He's gonna clone.
He's going to clone. Yeah, but Biggest congratulates you. Hunter Fournette asked if she's pregnant yet.
Oh, that would
That's
be
crazy.
but-
crazy. I guess we would lose you. Oh man.
Man.
Shout out our guy Ron.
Oh, yeah, speaking of Ron.
Shout out Ron.
Ron welcomed his son to the world yesterday.
Yes.
So congratulations to our guy Ron, who's officially a father. Unbelievable.
It's something that I never would have known.
No,
Kept it under wraps.
he really did.
Until he
He's-
didn't.
Yeah. Shout out to our guy Ron. But Biggest, I'm worried about tearing an ACL jumping down off my truck tailgate. Yeah, and I mean, you know, so Christian is gonna. We'll see if Christian tears his ACL.
No.
No, you already did the soccer season.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you're
fine.
good. You're
I'm too
healthy.
small to tear my ACL.
I don't think that's
I
how it
don't
works.
think that's.
Yeah, it's usually the bigger guys who tear it.
I don't think the size has anything to do with it.
Yeah, it
It's all
does.
about
More stress
angles.
on your knees.
I guess maybe a little bit. Biggest wants to know when your baby's due.
9 months from
9
Sunday.
months.
February 30th.
9 months from now.
9 months from tonight.
Celebrate that softball win somehow.
There you go.
That's tomorrow.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
softball's tomorrow. So wow. So we're going. Hung
That-
out
that's what I said,
yesterday.
yeah,
hung
yeah.
out yesterday.
Right.
Another date tonight.
Well, yesterday wasn't really intentional. It was just kind of spontaneous. Like,
Okay,
Hey, oh yeah.
yeah, right.
So you're her first thought when she wants lunch.
that's sweet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
And you say yes every time.
I haven't been here in a
Yeah,
while.
oh, yeah.
I don't feel as bad about that one. If you get me again today, I'm going to feel terrible.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, no, we're happy for you, Christian. Your loving, caring relationship that
Thank
you
you.
have.
I'd see how many we can get under our belt while he's at the Culotta show.
Yes. Yeah, you're
See
just like
the
you've
Rolodex.
grown up in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
How many failed relationships we'll have while
I
you're
can't
here?
believe I did that. I was so
Might be a
stupid.
big. Let's hope it doesn't turn into a big.
Landon Barone, he's so happy.
Uh-huh. Well,
He is.
Getting
He's
his
ecstatic. I
jollies
mean,
off for the first time.
Look at his face.
Didn't have to worry
Really?
about hiding in his room.
Look at him.
Parents are coming down the hall.
I think it's more funny than I am happy.
That's
Yeah.
Christian right there.
No, I was,
No.
no, that doesn't count. If I do it, you can't hit it.
Well, why not?
Or whatever.
Just said if I get got again, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, I'm
It's
gonna be
got 30
mad.
seconds later.
Biggest wants to know if you're in a frat.
No.
No,
He's not. No frat for Christian. He's in the Culotta Show Brotherhood.
that's right.
Christian, you were at football practice last week and yesterday. What have you seen so far? What stood out to you as you've been out there?
General thoughts. The offensive line are in front of us every single day where we stand as media members, and I like what I see every day. Specifically from Paul Mabanga.
Okay.
Borderline's had good days. Give me some other names. I'm kind of put on the spot here.
So
Tyree Adams.
Yeah, I'll list off the starting offensive line yesterday was from left to right. Tyree Adams, Paul Mabanga, DJ Chester, Cohen Eccles, Weston Davis.
Yeah, they've looked good. I think DJ Chester and Braylon Moore have been switching out.
Okay.
But those guys look good. The quarterback room looks good. I think Colin Hurley getting back is going to be important for them because I think he'll offer competition to Michael Van Buren in that second string role.
Right.
We haven't seen really enough of Van Buren to really know if he can be a good backup, but I think Colin Hurley in his second year, I think he could actually be a pretty you'll have a good backup this year.
Right.
The wide receiver room,
even with Van Buren, because you saw him do it last year. He started in the SEC.
Right.
So you're bringing in somebody that It was obviously before the Colin Hurley incident. Then they would have been really in the transfer portal. Talk about people that they wanted the spring transfer portal. They'd have been looking at quarterbacks, but to go ahead and get out in front of it and bring in competition for Hurley. And now Hurley is still, I believe, in Florida.
Yep.
Now you have a cemented number 2 that has experience in the SEC. You don't feel as bad about it, but don't get it twisted. This team goes as Nussmeier goes.
Yes. 100%. Anything else?
Wide receiver room. I think it's exciting. It's a bit different because you're kind of lacking a bit of size. Destin Hill stands out as one of your bigger receivers.
Yeah,
Kyle
he looks.
Parker,
He's a lot more put
big.
together than I anticipated.
Dude, I'll give the flowers to Shea Dixon, whoever Destin Hill decided to come to LSU. He's like, everybody's going to focus on the other pieces, but Destin Hill, whatever, because he covered him in recruiting. He was a New Orleans cat. He's like, he's a player.
Yeah.
And he kind of got lost in the wash at Florida State and what happened before where he couldn't play for 2 years.
Right.
Then he finally plays a year, and it looked good, and I think he got hurt.
Yeah, he's still got a brace on his knee.
Yeah.
If I saw correctly, but he looks.
Is that who was dancing with Barry and Brown?
Yes, he's put together.
Yeah. And Barry and Brown, all-time personality already.
Oh, my gosh.
Where have you been?
Fits right in.
Yeah.
Fan favorite.
You would have thought he was from Louisiana. 100%.
But, yeah, that his
not?
mic'd up is awesome.
No. Him and Kyle Parker, seems like they stop and dance every 2 seconds. Look,
Yeah,
you can pull it up on the
Nashville.
roster.
Yeah,
He's
Nashville.
from Nashville?
Yeah,
Did
surprising.
you ever say he took, because he does that, bruh,
Yeah.
which is very Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
He just took that with him from Nashville. They also got a little scent.
But yeah, no, I mean, talking about the wide receiver room, yesterday in 11 on 11, there were, 2 first-team groups essentially of wide receivers. You saw Barry and Brown, Aaron Anderson, Nick Anderson in the first group. Second group, it was Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson, and Xavion Thomas. So that's really your 6. Or, that's only 5 because Aaron Anderson was in both groups. That's 5. I would say Kyle Parker's the 6th. That's a really solid group of wide receivers. What else, Christian?
Tight end room.
Yes. A lot of 12 personnel.
Yeah.
From the reports from practice, there's going to be a lot of 12 personnel for LSU with both Bauer Sharp and Tradez Green on the field together. Whether that's Tradez and Bauer locked in on one side of the line, whether on the left or the right, or you've got Bauer Sharp attached to the line, Tradez split out wide, Bauer Sharp attached, Tradez in an H-back spot. You're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets with both 10 and 14 out there.
And they have been running Tradez on the line. They've been running little, small, 3-man, 4-man drills where Tradez has been lined up on the line of scrimmage. Either getting ready to run block or run a route. But, a lot of 12 personnel for sure.
Yeah, no, they're going to get to see. But look, he fits right in.
Oh, got the glass on today, Frank.
It's awesome. And I tell you what, that speed is real.
That's what surprised me is him being named the fastest man in college football. When Chris Hilton would have been in that conversation for me. I don't know.
Right.
Aaron Anderson, Caden Durham, Jelani Watkins. I don't know if he counts, but
you can go down the list of LSU: Xavion Thomas, Chris Hilton.
But this is LSU football to me.
Yes.
Kyle Parker still in the red jersey. Xavion.
That's awesome. But yeah, it looks like the transfers have really meshed in well.
Yeah.
That's back-to-back transfer player mic'd up videos.
Well, he's leading the huddle.
Where you've really seen them kind of mesh well with everyone else. anything else, Christian, that stood out? I know yesterday there were 3 interceptions. Austin Osbury had an interception off of Nuss where they tipped off the wide receiver's hands and he got it. He's been getting work at the star position because obviously Harold Perkins is out. Jawan Johnson, who was at star last year, is now a quarterback. And so you've seen Osbury slide into that star spot, growing some depth there. Michael Turner had a nice interception to close off practice yesterday versus against Michael Van Buren. He was guarding Berrien Brown on a go route down the sideline, goes up and makes the grab. And then Deshaun Spears had an interception at the safety spot against Van Buren as well. Spears is a guy that if you're an LSU fan, you really hope he can kind of grab a hold of that safety spot because it's going to be important. When you're looking at this defense, this is the most talented and the deepest defense Brian Kelly has had at LSU. Safety spot is the one position with an asterisk next to it, really. And you want to see somebody go in and take a hold of that position. The 4 names at safety right now, Spears, Cooley, Toviano, Rogers. Those are the 4 guys where you want to see somebody come in and take a hold of a spot. I think Spears could be massive if he's able to develop and do that for the Tigers. At cornerback, Jakeem Jackson, Ashton Stamps, Mansour Delane, DJ Pickett. You saw Mansour speak to the media yesterday, and the first words to really come out of his mouth were whatever that 5-star plus thing means. DJ Pickett is that and some. Like he's building a respect from somebody like Delaney who has been in college football for a while. He's a veteran presence, has played the sport, played the position, and he's speaking that highly of this freshman that LSU has. DJ Pickett is going to be special, and I don't think anybody's surprised. And I also, from what I've seen video-wise, Ashton Stamps looks good in the uniform. Like he's really put on some good muscle, and he's developed physically because he was kind of an undersized guy when he first got here from Rummel, a 3-star out of high school. And he's kind of developed more physically. The cornerback position, this is a pretty deep room right now for LSU. When you talk about, you still got a guy, P.J. Woodland, I didn't even name in that first 4. And then also you got to see the offensive line, defensive line go up against each other. Like I said, the starting offensive line yesterday from left to right, Tyree Adams, Paul Mabenga, DJ Chester, Cohen Eccles, Weston Davis. Brad Davis had an offensive tackle-focused mindset yesterday. He had Ethan Callaway going up against Weston Davis, Carius Kern going up against Tyree Adams. Kern is a guy to me that's going to be hard to keep off the field. From everything that I've seen, he is physically imposing. Like he is a large freshman, and he's looked good. The offensive line impressed in the 3v3 where it's center guard tackle versus defensive tackle, edge rusher, linebacker. Offensive line looked good in that. But the defensive line looked good in some 1v1s where you saw wins by guys like Ahmad Bro, Dominic McKinley, 2 guys that you hope to really develop a lot over this spring, summer, fall to get ready for August 30th in this 2025 season. And then you saw Tyree Adams on back-to-back reps, got wins versus Gabe Relaford, who's going to be a starting edge on this team. So that's good to see where he stands up, he stonewalls Gabe. They say, line it back up, go again. And he stonewalls Gabe right after that. So all in all, it was a good day for the offense. Nussmeier looked good. But from everything that I've heard, the defense has really impressed so far. You can kind of tell the difference in talent, the difference in depth, and the energy. I think is probably one of the biggest differences, Christian, if that's something that you've noticed.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the energy is brought the moment they step out, whether they're cursing at each other or whatever. I mean, the minute they run out the tunnel, they're yelling at each other. And it's brought specifically a lot by Kyle Williams, the new defensive line coach.
Okay.
He brings it every day, yelling at whoever. Brad Davis has always brought it. But it is good to see Kyle Williams bring it because Bo Davis would bring it.
Of course.
So and that's really what that room needs. And Joe Sloan gathered him up yesterday too, yelled at him. But I would say overall the energy is pretty high. I mean, you see the wide receiver room in that video. They seem like they're pretty excited, pretty ready to go every single day. And
is this the first year they've had music like this?
No,
they've had music.
Okay, because I feel like people are making a big deal out of it.
No, I mean from what I remember in past spring camps,
music is common.
But
it's new every day. It's a new artist, new honestly new genre. They had rock one day on Saturday. I think they had rock.
Yeah, no, we had to, whenever I'm going through making the videos,
Mute it.
I have to mute it to make sure we don't get demonetized. Spectrum Wellcare says Thompson is needed. Speaking of Josh Thompson, the Northwestern transfer, he has obviously not been here for spring so far. He arrived in Baton Rouge on campus yesterday. So he was not seen at practice yesterday. Saturday, he should be there, obviously, as he got here yesterday, ready to go for the Tigers. That'll be another good piece added for LSU on the offensive line. But what I really like is I feel like Blake Baker has really added a lot of pieces on this defense that fit him and his energy. You know, when you see guys like, you know, obviously they already have Jacoby and Guillory, but he's got a Whit Weeks and a Jack Pyburn and a Mansour Delane, these guys that are going to be vocal and energized, which is exactly what Blake Baker is. And Pyburn actually had a nice clip of him talking about Blake Baker in the player interviews where he, he said Blake Baker's like their friend, but he's not afraid to call them out, and let them know when they're messing up or doing something wrong. It was some nice insight on just the dynamic there that I think is so important, especially going into year 2 with this as the defensive coordinator and the expectations that are had for the program as a whole. You saw improvement, like me and Lloyd talked about it in fall camp last year, where there was a visible difference from 2023 to 2024 on the defense. But 2024 still was not good enough. Now, from what I'm hearing, there's a visible difference from 24 to 25, as there should be because of the pieces that you've added. So if you can develop some good safety play, I think defensive line play is going to be massive. There's really been a 4-man rotation at edge with Patrick Payton, Gabe Relaford, Jabari Butler, and Jack Pyburn. That's been the 4 guys really at edge rusher. Defensive tackle, Jacoby and Guillory obviously isn't practicing, but you've got guys like Dominic McKinley, Ahmad Bro, Sadir Mitchell that you really expect to be huge players for this team and make an impact. So those spots defensively are going to be important. Obviously, you're getting some good depth added at the at the linebacker and star position because Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins are not practicing. So Wes Weeks is out there. Devon Keys getting some work. Like we said, Osbury at star getting some good work. Those positions for the defense are going to be huge this year, and you expect to see another uptick. Like we saw from 23 to last season, you expect to see, to me, really a bigger shift forward for this defense with all these pieces that you've added. The expectations to me should be a pretty solid defense because this is the deepest team that Brian Kelly's had on that side of the ball since he's arrived at LSU. So I'm excited to see. I wish there was more opportunity for us to get out there. The next media availability is Saturday. Christian is not going to be able to be there, so one of us will be out there to check it out, and we'll have coverage there, obviously.
And since we are not able to get out there, we'll have Jock Doucet 8 o'clock
yes,
today.
Awesome. Perfect. So JD will join us at 8 a.m. this morning, as obviously he's out there. He's got a heck of a team over at WFB that's covering stuff. John Eads doing great work. I saw John on Thursday last week. He came out to Lake Charles to cover our semifinal game. Talked to him a little bit. He headed right back home, and he was at spring practice and at the baseball game Friday night. So great stuff over there from WFB. We will have Jacques Doucet at 8 a.m. this morning to talk about spring football and kind of the expectations there. One interesting piece, speaking of spring football, we talked about it on Monday. The spring game is going to be different. I want to know your thoughts, Lloyd, on what Dion came out and said the other day. And Andrew Messina said it in the chat earlier. He said, should LSU take up Coach Prime's offer and do a spring game with Colorado? I think it'd be great. What's your feeling on a spring game against another opponent and not an intra-squad? Are you for or against?
I know that's leaning more towards the NFL model, right? Where you have those joint practices and you go up against each other. And it feels like you get some really good work done because you get to hit somebody on a different team in a different jersey. But then they look forward to that because camp gets hot. gets hard. You start kind of fighting amongst yourselves.
Right.
But I think that might be the antithesis of what they want for college football, because if you're so concerned about people stealing your roster, imagine televising a game that you're playing another team in Colorado who is very much a player in the NIL space as well, being like I don't want Dion around my roster.
No.
Let him talk to DJ Pickett. That goes against everything that you were kind of trying to avoid.
Right.
But in theory, that would be awesome.
Yes.
To be able to see you practice against another team. I know it wouldn't be full scrimmage, but it would be drills against each other, that kind of stuff, just to get a different feel, because I do think it is beneficial in the NFL. The good outweighs the bad, because there are times when even in the joint practice where there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of people vying for positions, and you don't necessarily want that to be what leads, but you do get a lot more out of going against a different team because the intensity gets ramped up.
Of course.
You feel like you're playing in a game because you're playing against somebody else. Shit talk happens. It's all a different feel than the mundane practice of playing the same guy, doing the same thing over and over and over again. It gives you something to look forward to. But all that said, with the transfer portal and NIL, it doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if that's what they're going to use as the excuse to not do spring games, this makes even less sense. But I'm all for it. I think it would be awesome.
In theory, it'd be cool.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I doubt it will, just because, I think a lot of the reasons people are dropping spring games is just because they don't want to put in the effort to make it happen. You heard Brian Kelly talk about it where they lost 2 practices because they're setting up. But I think this could be a cool way, obviously, because Sabrion said, they do it in high school, so why not? Biga says Tulane would be cool. Sabrion 7-on-7 would be good in college. So there'd be a way to make it, safer so that you're not worried about injuries and things like that. But I think it would be massive, especially for a team like LSU. How nice would that have been in 2021 when we were out at spring practice and we thought Jake Peets was the truth at offensive coordinator and all these things? You weren't really picking up on the lackluster offense and defense you were watching because they were both bad against each other. How nice would it have been to see them go up against somebody like UL, who was a pretty good program under Napier in 2021, and kind of realize, LSU needs to shape it up.
I would imagine that's when coaches would bail on this type of structure.
Yes.
Because we're not any good, but it doesn't look bad if we're both bad, and that's the only thing you see.
Right.
And it would have been interesting to have Matt House go face a different offense. But then that would the story would have been out before it was out, like Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, damn, the offense is legit.
Right.
And then you see the defense this is as bad as the offense is good.
Right. But I feel like for this season, it'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, because it feels like you're good on both sides of the ball.
Yes, and it'd be a nice way to find out how real it really is before the 30th of August.
How this continues to play out with what you're seeing from the transfer portal guys that they brought in, with what you're seeing from Nuss, who seems to continue to develop, it's all going to be on coaching.
Yes.
Coaching and a little bit of good luck.
To keep everybody healthy. But really build this offense around Nuss and his skill set.
Yeah, you can't get it to another situation, like I say this all the time, where you're throwing it 50 times a game.
Not at all.
Can't happen. When you brought in all the people that you did on the offensive line, I'm interested to see how Thompson kind of hits the ground running, because there's been a lot more practice than he probably thought that he was going to miss.
Yes.
And they're figuring it out without you.
It was, I think, practice, do you remember which number of practice it was yesterday?
6?
Was it 6 or 7? 6, practice number 6?
Oh, like media attendance?
No, just in general.
Oh,
total.
no.
Yes, I mean, he's missed a good number of practices so far, so he's getting here. He got here yesterday. He'll be ready to go for practice on Saturday.
Right. It's just they're not, the LSU offensive line wasn't that bad.
No.
I could stroll in wherever, whenever. And
you're seeing that with Braylon Moore still running with the 2s at center.
Yeah.
Everybody had him penciled in to walk in and have that job. And DJ Chester's still been the guy, because I think size-wise, Braylon Moore's a little bit smaller than.
Well, Chester's huge.
Yeah, right. I mean, Chester was a left tackle in high school. And that's just kind of the way Brad Davis has recruited it. So it's it would be awesome to see something like that. H-Town Creole says none of the smaller universities in Louisiana would be crazy enough to scrimmage LSU in fear of losing their top players. Well, yeah, of course. That's part of that discussion. But, I mean, don't you think a ULL versus LSU spring game would sell so many tickets? Like, imagine the money you could make off of
especially in like
just $5 a ticket.
Yeah, 2022.
I mean,
whenever they won their bowl game for the third year, and
Right.
LSU's like struggling to make a bowl game, they probably thought for sure we could beat LSU
100%.
in a spring game setting.
It
would sell tickets. Like, there's no doubt it would sell tickets and all of those things, but logistically, even though they're right down the road, if you're
Right.
missing 2 practices for your own spring game, I would imagine if you're trying to travel somewhere and set it up with another team, that it becomes more of a focus than it needs to be.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, you heard.
But in a perfect world, like I said, like, that would be cool if that
it'd
happened.
be awesome.
And you don't think about, like, travel, logistics, all of these things that, like, they have to take care of. Like, I don't know how that works, if you want to put it on TV or not.
Right.
Instead of just like, we're going to do an open practice, y'all come get signatures, and people are going to flock to it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you know how easy this is going to be on LSU?
Yeah.
Where all they have to do is worry about getting people into the stadium, and that's it. And handling the autograph and the security and stuff like that. So,
and even if you don't have a lot of people there, that's probably better for LSU in their mind. Like, all right, that didn't take too long.
Right, get it done.
Or if you do, it's like, look at what, like,
come to
like, we gave you everything you could ask for.
Yep.
A little food and an autograph. And
win,
a water
win, 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 win,
and
all the way
football.
around.
Yeah.
So don't forget our code for Roback, Tigers, Tigers, for 20% off with a first-time email. And our bracket challenge on Twitter was posted yesterday. The men's bracket challenge, whoever wins that one will get one of the Roback shirts that we got in. We will give that away to the winner of the men's bracket challenge. We put out the link for men's and women's bracket challenge yesterday on Twitter, so make sure you get that in. That'll close, I think, tomorrow as March Madness begins. So get your bracket in for a chance to get one of these nice LSU Roback shirts so you can pet the dog yourself. And if you don't, but I wouldn't bet on it because it's difficult to win. So just go ahead and hit the website, roback.com. Use our code Tigers, Tigers, for 20% off with a first-time email. We are going to take a quick break to set up hour number 2 and our interview to open it up with the man, the myth, the legend, Jacques Doucet from WFB9. So we'll be right back after this.
Was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Well, the Oscar Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together 2 great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, helping you with your home, auto, commercial, life and health insurance needs around in Baton Rouge at 4275 Government Street and online at 4EAagency.com. Whatever insurance you're in the market for, home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health, get in touch with 4EA Insurance Agency, 4EAagency.com, or give them a call at 225-383-0682. 4EA Agency.
Get Gordon. And get it done. Yeah, everybody know Gordon in a 225. And he done link with Big Four. He got buku ties, Ferrari sliding, flying in a new coupe ride. And every time I ride by, I see a brand new sign. I'm a Gordon, I know that he gon' get it done. Whether it's a big truck crash or a hit and run, recovery funds, he fighting to get a ton. Mike Epps, man, we all about the Benjamin. Handling injuries, man, are you kidding me? Gordon McKernan, that's champion energy. Yeah, family man with a family plan. Get Gordon, he gon' fix it like a handyman. Get Gordon, and get it done.
Welcome to Trifecta.
Trifecta Sports Therapy in Baton Rouge. Recover, repair, restore. At Trifecta, they believe in total body wellness. Trifecta gets the body back to its full potential. Whether you're a youth or pro athlete, a pre or postnatal mom, or if you lead an active lifestyle or a senior citizen, Trifecta has the class, the sports massage, the sports therapist, the stretch therapist, or the equipment like infrared sauna, cold plunges, and golf simulators to find your best. Find Trifecta online at trifectasportstherapy.com or check out the beautiful facility today, 8221 Goodwood. Trifecta Sports Therapy.
Hey, Tiger fans, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit us, Tom and Wright Granning, at Go Mart on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip.
Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on your left.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff,
where everyone is family.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, Chino. Cut my headphones up, bro. Yeah, right there. Now I'm focused on getting deposits. Evil in the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it.
All right, welcome back. Here, hour number 2 getting started on this Wednesday morning. And we've got the legend himself, Jacques Doucet, the sports director from WFB9, joining us live. Good morning, Jacques. How are you?
Good morning. I was eavesdropping on your conversation during the commercial break, talking about White Lotus. Yes. I'm on board as well. I've been watching all these psychotic families going off to paradises through 3 seasons.
It's unbelievable. the writing.
Oh, honey,
is
she's going to North Carolina.
You do everything right. You're so perfect. You're a great dad. You know, I kind of wonder if she's in on it. I kind of wonder if she knows that she's like really kind of almost taunting him, that she knows that he's, you know, his whole world is falling apart back in America.
A lot of people think that she has an idea and she's already set her money aside. So she's going to be comfortable when everything kind of blows up. She's like a genius.
Thought of that.
Yeah.
I just take a lorazepam, baby. You'll be fine. And sure as shit, he does.
Yeah, he starts popping them like crazy.
But unbelievable show.
Well, I guess it makes sense that the son of Arnold Schwarzenegger is always walking around with his shirt off, and it's got, you know, he's one of the jacked up dudes on the show, and then all the good characters on this show, bad things happen to them. Is it Belinda? She was the one that was trying to get the sauna, her personal sauna done with our girl Coolidge, who fell off the boat and hit her head, and then the poor guy that's the pretty girl Mook, the
security guard,
security guy. Is it what's his name? Gaytok or something?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he's such a great guy, but he's like a Charlie Brown character.
He's a
He just keeps
terrible security
tripping
guard.
over.
Yeah, he keeps getting the football pulled away from him.
Gonna leave this gun out front on the deck. And,
Just got
it.
Ask for it back once and then never again. Just I tried.
Yeah. Oh well.
But LSU spring practice obviously well underway the last week and a half. What have you seen from the start of LSU spring football?
Well, we're seeing things from a different angle, right? We're on the second balcony of the players' lounge, which is good in some regards. You're high up above. I guess you can get in television more artistic shots and whatnot. But we can walk down on the field as well. To me, if you put a gun to my head right now, it feels like this team has the potential to be Brian Kelly's best team of the four, I would think. I don't know if there's a Heisman Trophy winner like a Jaden Daniels or, players like Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas, but I do think that they're going to score some points. That's just what it feels like, that the wide receiving room and the guys they picked up in the transfer portal, Barry and Brown, it was really good to talk to him yesterday. He's a guy that did some really good things at Kentucky, in which they struggled really offensively. So to put him in this system, got a chance to score a lot more points. And just talking to Garrett Nussmeier, I just think that he'll be better than he was a season ago. We have seen the transformation, or we've seen the big jump between quarterbacks at LSU from their first year to their second year, whether we're talking about, talking about Joe Burrow, we're talking about Jaden Daniels. And so I think that last year with Nussmeier, he had a very solid year, but Nussmeier, like a lot of LSU guys on that team during that 3-game losing streak in the middle of the year, made some mistakes and didn't play up to the best of his ability. So good to see Caden Durham out there healthy again at running back. As a freshman, was your leading rusher as a true freshman. Coach Kelly talked about Caleb Jackson, how he's been too big, maybe. Just a lot of times we see a guy and we say, oh, man, he's bulked up, he's big, he's just going to run over dudes, and maybe, he needs to get his weight down a little bit. I mean, it reminds me of Leonard Fournette. When Leonard was here, it was always his weight. He was a little too heavy, and so we'll see about that. And Harlem Berry out there as well. On the defensive side of the ball, DJ Pickett walked in front of me the other day in the hallway, and this guy is very tall, and it feels like his arms, would go from where I'm sitting right to here to across the river into Port Allen. I mean, he's just this rangy guy, and so I think he's gained some weight. From what I hear, he's up to 191 or so. So he was very, very thin, and so he's getting bigger. And I like this Mansur Delane that we talked to yesterday, corner from Virginia Tech. I think that's a seasoned guy that brings you immediate experience at the position. All of these defensive backs have brought up Corey Raymond as a big reason why they've come to LSU. You look at his track record and the guys he's sent to the NFL. That's what these guys want to do. They want to go to the league and they want to get paid. And certainly Mansur Delane referenced, how would you like to be Derek Stingley? How would you like to be 23 years old and sign a contract, $89 million guaranteed? I thought Olivia Dunn was living good at 22 or whatever she is. Derek Stingley Jr., man, made for life after signing his deal. So these younger guys see those contracts and they see stuff like that, and that's where they want to be. So, just my general take on it right now, they kind of feel like they could be a team that's 10-2 and make the playoff. But obviously there's a long way to go. There's guys that haven't even joined the team yet. Obviously there's some freshmen that haven't made it to LSU yet. The offensive line from Northwestern, I think he's coming in. He's got to graduate from school up there and do some things before he comes in. But I think they did a good job in the portal of getting 2 offensive linemen I think are going to start. Really impressed with this. Is it Jack Pyburn, the guy they got from Florida?
Jack Pyburn.
Pyburn, excuse me. This guy looks like he's an Avenger or something. I mean, everyone made comments about this dude's, his neck and he looked like a 40-year-old man talking to him yesterday, and a really good interview. And, and you still just have to watch out on the computer for this AI stuff. Like, before I went to bed yesterday, I glanced at Twitter and somebody had done a fake with him where he said something like, well, Florida was broke, so they couldn't pay for me, so I came to LSU. And and it just looked real. I'm like, I was at that interview. Did he say that? Was I daydreaming? So you got to watch out for that AI stuff. But he was really impressive yesterday. I liked, we talked to Bauer Sharp yesterday, who played 3 years at Southeastern in Hammond and now is at LSU, played a year at Oklahoma last year, and he grew up in Dothan, Alabama. And it was funny. He said, I didn't like LSU. Well, I asked him, I said, what was your view of LSU growing up in Dothan, Alabama? And he stuttered for a bit and said, I'd rather not say, sir. And so it's funny. All his family's like from the Tuscaloosa area and Alabama fans, and now he's wearing purple and gold. I guess it was similar to the punter that LSU had. Was it Jay Bramlett? He grew up in Tuscaloosa as well. But I enjoyed talking to him. I thought the 4 guys they brought yesterday, they were all transfers out of the portal. I thought they were all really good interviews and really good. It seemed like guys you'd want to have on the team. So that's just a little my little take on it. I guess the spring scrimmage will be April 12th. I really don't care if they do a game or not. I think it's good to have something for the fans in the spring, just to come out and see the team, see them put the uniform on and do something. And they're going to have an autograph session apparently after the game. When we were growing up, they had this thing called Fan Day that went away. They used to do in August. And, in today's NIL world and just fandom and, security and safety, I think it's harder to do stuff like that. I remember they would do Fan Day and it was like, okay, come get your favorite LSU player's autograph for an hour. And then, the line to get a Leonard Fournette or whoever was so long, you might get one autograph and the thing was over. So, but they're going to implement that on April the 12th as well. So, like I said, I was going to wrap up here in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the case may be. But, I've been – it's early. You got to get up if you want to go cover – they're open these gates at 7:45 in the morning. So, early bird gets the worm for sure.
Yes, and it's been a while since we've talked to you. Obviously, LSU made the move to hire Kyle Williams, former Tiger, as their new defensive line coach. So now that's been official, and you've seen him out on the practice field. What's been your take on that move by the Tigers?
Well, the one thing that people will say who knock the hire will be like, this guy's got no experience. And look, players who aren't good, they get a lot of coaching experience earlier, because – Kyle Williams is a great player. He's been a player. That's what he did for 13 years. Made the Pro Bowl 6 times. Arguably, top 2 or 3 LSU defensive linemen in the last 20 years. I think, Daniil Hunter may have risen to the top in terms of most productive guys in the pros out of LSU, which is crazy. I think he had 4.5 sacks at LSU total or something like that. And he's one of the most dominant pass rushers in the league. But Kyle, I'm old. I've been here a long time. I covered Kyle as a player, certainly, and he was a major part of LSU's 2003 national championship team in the trenches there. He was a big part of Les Miles' first team in 2005. One of the famous stories of Kyle Williams is they went to Alabama. Obviously, this is before Nick Saban got there, but it was a huge game in 2005. Both teams were ranked in the top 5. Undefeated, and the game went to overtime, and I think Jamarcus Russell hit Dwayne Bowe for the game-winning touchdown in overtime. But at halftime, I think LSU was losing 10-0 or something, and Kyle gave this famous, impassioned speech and fired up the team, and they went on a rally. And so, I've kept in touch with Kyle over the years. I've done interviews with him over the years, and I just watching practice, it seems like he brings a lot of intensity. Does he have the experience of a Bo Davis, who's very, very seasoned and who played at LSU, I guess, about a decade before Kyle did or more? No, but the only way to get experience is to get an opportunity. And so he's got that opportunity. And I think the players respect the guy that's made it to the league, just like they respect Corey Raymond coaching defensive backs. This guy can get me to the league. I think they respect a guy like Kyle Williams who's been there, done that. So I like the fire. I like what he's bringing to the table. I'm sure I've just kind of watched him interact with Blake Baker and Kevin Peoples and some of the other guys. They seem to be fitting like a glove so far and getting along. So I'm rooting for Kyle. He's also a a scratch golfer, and I think, people know Brian Kelly likes to play a little golf, so those two might be on the course a little bit this summer. Apparently Kyle can hit it a mile, and Kelly joked that his short game is amazing, chipping and putting. So there you go. So, yeah, rooting for him, and really good friends with Andrew Whitworth. They were both from that Monroe area. I remember doing an interview with Kyle a couple of years ago when he was, coaching at Ruston, and just talking about being an LSU Tiger, right? Like I said, well, what's camp like? And he's like, man, we used to be in that old Broussard Hall, and no matter what, I'd hit that thermostat, and it was always stuck on 86 degrees no matter what, And at night I can't sleep, and I'm sweating. And then you're doing 2-a-days, and you're like, I am so over this. And then you're like, well, you know what? This was your dream. This is what you wanted to do, And so I think even in the NIL era, when people think a lot of these guys are coddled and get exactly what they want, and they're pretty well taken care of in terms of their education, their food, and a lot of other things. The bottom line is they still have to go through the grind of the strengthening, the conditioning, and the endless meetings and practices and games, and devote a very big chunk of their life to do it. And Kyle sums that up pretty well.
Yeah, another move for LSU, Jawan Johnson, obviously somebody that was a very decorated and impressive quarterback in high school, comes to LSU to play DB, gets moved to running back. Now he's back at quarterback for the Tigers. What were your thoughts on that move?
I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on that. I don't think it's going to be a storyline in 2025.
If it is, we're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, he's a great athlete and everything. I remember being on the sideline before one of the games started this year, talking to some of his coaches, and I think they were his high school coaches, and they were kind of perplexed with the move him to running back. So I think I guess this is more of a fit for him. Let's see, who did LSU didn't sign a quarterback. Did they sign a quarterback in the class?
No.
A freshman? They don't have a freshman coming in that plays the position, do they?
They did not.
A quarterback? I've been watching Michael Van Buren at Mississippi State. I think he throws a pretty good ball, and I think he's a real nice, backup option to have, a guy who's already played some ball and whatnot. Where did our guy from Vanderbilt go? Where did he transfer to? Last year's backup.
Eastern Michigan, something like that.
Okay. But no, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I'll be interested to see when they put him out there. And I think when they're doing those drills in the beginning, like a practice where they do that 2-minute drill where they line up and they go against air, I'm not even sure if they got enough guys out there to fill out the third team. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, I mean, look, he's a young player, got a lot of talent. Was obviously very good at Lafayette Christian, which was coached by Trev Falk for a long period of time. I think they won like 4 state titles in a row over one stretch. I think towards the end of Trev Falk's run there, they only made it to the state championship game and didn't win, but that's a powerful program out there. It's crazy. I grew up in Lafayette. Apparently that school's been there forever. And then it's just like all of a sudden it just started bubbling up state champions and playing football and stuff. I didn't know this place was even there, but they've made big investments over the last decade or so at that school.
AJ Swan now at Appalachian State, not near.
AJ Swan. It's been a great storyline for AJ to get in against Vanderbilt this year in Nashville, go up against his old team. But,
I'm sure they have a scouting report or two. But when we talk transfer portal and the addition of these guys that LSU was brought in, we were talking about it earlier. It feels like the personality of the guys, whether it be a Berrien Brown, like you talked about Jack Pyburn, it feels like they almost already fit in with LSU without ever having been here. Like, have you noticed any of that where you see it's like some of their leadership qualities that are coming through in some of the videos that are being put out, which I think it's a far cry from what you've had from previous transfers coming to LSU or guys that you got out the portal. And it shows that they invested more maybe in like obviously the skill set, but the personality type as well.
Yeah, Lloyd, I think in 2022 when they were really kind of up a creek with the roster and really patching that thing together and somehow made it to the SEC championship game, I think they hit really a lot on the guys they brought in terms of they could play to an extent and that they were, pretty good personalities. And then I think the following year, in particular on the defensive side of the ball, whether it was a Denver Harris or a Deuce Chestnut or some of those guys, the character part just did not work out. And what's that?
Like a swing and a miss almost.
Yeah. I mean, they just didn't. Both of those guys were problems, and and really hurt LSU on that side of the ball, because obviously the defense was horrific, and just didn't do well there when it comes to identifying guys. So I think I've talked to different coaches, over the years, or should I say in recent memory, and talking about, identifying guys in the portal, and sometimes, not just looking at, stats on paper and saying, okay, this is a good addition, because, and it's tough on the coaches too. I mean, they have a very short period of time. I mean, there's a good chance they've recruited some of these guys and got to know them in the recruiting process, but at the same time, maybe they don't know much about the kid, and they've got a short window to say, okay, do we want this guy or not? Are we going to bring him aboard or not? And then, obviously, in today's college football climate, are we going to invest money into this person or not and bring them aboard? And so, I agree. It feels like, just from sitting down and interviewing some of these guys so far and what we've seen, they seem to be people that were brought up right, that have good attitudes, that are, know what the standard is at LSU, know what the expectation is at LSU. Nussmeier has made it clear in his interview that they expect to be playing football in January, is what he said. We all know that Brian Kelly, after I think it was the Oklahoma game, we're keeping receipts and we'll see you at the championship. I'm still not sure why he said that or why he would do that, but I think that the less said about that, the better. But just do your best. But anyway, they've made it clear, and I think that this is a very pivotal year. Now, from the get-go, I've always wondered how much pressure is on Brian Kelly when you have a 10-year contract that's 90% guaranteed, and you're going to get $90 million pretty much no matter what. How much pressure is on him to, hey, you better win this year, and what? But I think that things are set up this year once again to make a playoff, and I think you need to make a playoff this year. I think that's what we were saying last year. It didn't happen, but you can't go 8-4 again and be playing in a Liberty Bowl or a Gator Bowl or something like that. You got to make a playoff, and it's early, but it feels like that they've got good leadership on this team. I like Nussmeier's potential. I think it's real cool. His dad's going to be coaching an hour down the road. We had a chance to go meet the Saints staff about a week or two ago, and I talked to Doug Nussmeier and talked to him about Garrett. And it's interesting, he said, I never pushed football on Garrett. I never wanted to choose his passion. I wanted him just to find a passion, and his football is his passion. I told his dad I often go to church at Christ the King or St. Jude, and I see Garrett every weekend. And he said, "You better." And so, so he comes from good people, good God-fearing people, and put the right things in perspective. I think I was talking to Bob Starkey the other day, LSU women's basketball coach, and he said, we like athletes who have parents who were coaches, because that means they're not like some other parents where the coach is always stupid, the coach doesn't know what they're saying. They have a much different perspective on things, and I think Garrett's been brought up that way. And I think Christian Lockenshire told me one time, and I think this is true. He said, if I ever got in trouble, I'd be much more worried about my parents than my coach. And those are the kind of kids you want to bring on board, that if they ever had a misstep, they'd be petrified of their parents more than they would the coach. So, we'll see. The 2019 national championship team, I always brought it up. There were so many, I got to know so many of the parents on that team, and you could tell that the character came from the parents. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and his family, Patrick Queen and his family, Burrow and his family, Jamar Chase and his parents. I mean, so many of them I got to know, and it just all seemed like, they were good people who brought up good kids. And as I continue to ramble, I don't know if there'll ever be a 2019 team again in college football. It seems impossible in today's modern time when you look at the contracts that these guys have signed in the NFL, the gobs of money that they're making. How would you ever have those kind of guys on a roster again and be able to pay them all and support them in the NIL thing? So I got a friend of mine who we always talk, and we say that 2019 team felt like the end of something. Like it felt like it was the last of this or the last of that. And at first it felt, because COVID shut everything down after that and changed everything forever. But to me, it maybe feels like that was the last team of its kind before all these changes in college football.
Right. Yeah, no, we appreciate it this morning. What do you have going on over there at WAFB? What's coming up in the coming months?
Well, I always say, March is the busiest time of the year. It is crazy. And, Kevin Baptiste and John Eads and myself have been working a lot of hours, and we can kind of see, to an extent, the light at the end of the tunnel here. By the beginning of April, mid-April, it kind of becomes bat and ball season for the most part. And, all your March Madness is done. But, state championships for high school basketball just wrapped up in Lake Charles with the boys. We only had one state champion locally in the boys' side. That was Zachary, who beat Central head-to-head. But we've got late night with LSU women's basketball coming up. I don't think I've ever seen at the PMAC a 9:15 tip-off for a men's or women's basketball game. That's got to be a first. Somebody said way back in 1986, rest in peace, Gene Hackman. That was the year Hoosiers came out. LSU, I think, played Purdue when they used to be able to host NCAA games in the men, and somebody said that was a late game. But so we got that coming up. John Eads been doing an outstanding job covering LSU baseball, and will continue to do that. They're on the road this week. A lot of people out of town this week. LSU baseball out of town. Beth Torina and the softball team going to Georgia, who's in the top 15. The two bat and ball teams, so to speak, LSU baseball and softball, are they 48-2 combined so far? Those two teams. And look, they're both getting to the meat of their schedule, and that all that stuff's coming up. It's going to get tougher. But the Southern women are in the NCAA tournament tonight. We've got just a lot of stuff going on. Spring football will continue. So WAFB.com, our YouTube page. I just did a nice sit down with Josh Pearson, 4-year guy on the LSU baseball team who made perhaps the greatest catch in LSU history. Him or Ray Wright, right?
Right.
Against Florida in the game 1 of the national championship series. Jay Johnson said if he doesn't make that catch and we lose game 1, there's no way we're winning game 2 and we're not the national champions. So that catch was amazing. After the game, you talked to Josh and, just the ball scorched off the bat, LSU fans biting their fingernails. You talk to Josh, it's like, well, it was a fly ball. We practiced it and I made the catch, he just got that, heartbeat never goes over 50 type thing. Postseason Pearson, right? So anyway, those are a few things we got going on. We're very busy, and thanks for having me on. By the way, we've got a Red Rock and Blue concert Saturday night at the Texas Club. Def Legend, Poison Ivy, and Osmosis. Tickets available. Tickets starting to move. And we'll have the TVs on for the women's basketball game as well. So come see us at the Texas Club with all proceeds going to Louisiana Military Charities Saturday night. Red Rock and Blue Spring kickoff concert.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jacques, this morning for joining us. It was good to see your face, and have best of luck in everything else going on this month, making it through March.
All right, I'll put you and Lloyd on a group text Sunday night after the next episode of White Lotus airs, and we can discuss what is the next awkward scene that takes place.
Perfect. Yeah, because I'm sure it's going to be something impressive.
We didn't even talk about the real awkward one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was
it was something
what
else.
was that all about? Somebody said Rick is the character, right? Rick's the kind of looks like Jack Nicholson. His face.
Yeah,
listen to that story. Somebody said Rick is all of us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was me that see the dynamics between those two brothers early in the episode.
Yes.
First, what is going on here? Is somebody a stepbrother? Are they not? Why? Anyway, so it's hard in today's pop culture climate with a million things to watch to get a lot of people's attention with one show, but apparently White Lotus is doing that. I started to watch Breaking Bad again. I'd watched it for the first time like 4 years ago, and I said, well, I'm going to watch it again to see what I missed the first time around. So, Breaking Bad, I think, is probably the best TV show I've ever watched in terms of, oh my God, what happens next? So great writing there. Vince Gilligan, does he? So, all right, guys. Well, I enjoyed it. We'll talk soon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
JD.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Great stuff there from the legend himself, Mr. Jacques Doucet of WAFB Sports. Don't forget Red Rock and Blue, obviously a concert on Saturday at the Texas Club. We're going to take
your old stomping grounds.
No, of course. The left side of the Texas Club is Central. It's all the dirty sea there. And a nice little jab there about the Zachary State Championship. Great production work, Lloyd, cutting to my face.
Yes.
I had a feeling you were going to do it, but he said it, and I was just
still fresh.
Yep, still the wound is still fresh. But we're going to take a quick break here to set up an 8:30 interview with the one Nick Underhill to join us from New Orleans.football to talk about the Saints here on this Wednesday morning. So we'll be right back after this.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Family calls family. That saying resonates even more as your family grows. And we can't seem to stop growing. Meet the newest member of the Get Gordon family, Penny's cousin Rosie. Rosie already knows, the larger your family, the more people you have to lift you up during trying times. Just like at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, we've grown to over 200 team members with over 50 local attorneys. So whether you pick Penny, employ Ellie, roll with Rosie, or Get Gordon, we want to be your lawyers for life.
Your lawyers for life.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdowns Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history of Gus Piazza. Took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com.
It's rare to find someone you can count on when it's go time. It's even more rare to find someone you can count on, well, all the time. At Sunshine, we're proud to offer the John Deere equipment you need and the team you can depend on and off the field. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, Chino. Cut my headphones up, bro. You right there? Now I'm focused on getting deposits. Evil in the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it. I ain't like my other side, now I'm sounding astounded. Drive by and let it ride like I'm whipping a Tesla.
All right, welcome back in. We are getting ready to set up Nick Underhill to talk about the Saints on this Wednesday morning, as we are almost a month away from the NFL draft. Free agency is still well underway, as you've seen. Contracts like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Derek Stingley, money just getting thrown all around. This 2019 LSU roster is something special when it comes to the pocketbook, as Joe Burrow was the highest paid quarterback when he signed his contract. Justin Jefferson was the highest paid non-quarterback when he signed his contract. Derek Stingley is now the highest paid DB in history. Jamar Chase is the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL. I'm not surprised at all, because that 2019 team was obviously the greatest of all time, and it continues to be cemented as time goes on. But the Saints, seems like their eyes are all set on the NFL draft, as they look to add a big-time piece with the number 9 pick, whether they trade back or use that selection. It's going to be an important draft pick for the future of this organization. We have Nick?
We do.
All right, Nick Underhill of New Orleans.football joins us this morning to help us close out the show and talk about the New Orleans Saints. Nick, how are you?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing good. Obviously, there was a press conference piece that came out the other day that's got all the Saints fans locked in on. Cam Ward discussed his meeting with the Saints and talked about his fandom growing up. How real is that actually for the Saints to be able to make a move and have Cam Ward on the roster?
Yeah, I probably like close to zero. I mean, he's probably going to be the top pick in the draft. And then you got to look at the Bryce Young trade, which was 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and DJ Moore, which I don't know that you make that move. Obviously Bryce Young hasn't worked out quite yet how it was expected at the time, but I think he was a more of a polished prospect than Ward at the time coming out of the draft. Felt like a little bit more of a sure thing. And, that hasn't worked out. So Ward's a little bit more of a projection than Young was. So I don't know. It just feels like a risky move. I know they like him. I know he's as far as I've been able to gather, I think he's the only quarterback in the draft they have a first on. So, I think there would be some type of interest, but going up to get him, it sounds more and more like he's going to be the number one pick. Shefty said it yesterday that it sounds like the Titans are closing in on him as their top guy. So, you would have to, pay them to move off it, and I'm just not sure I see it.
Does that just him like speaking out loud, or is this some sort of angle that they're trying to play for his first overall pick? Because you've seen guys that are projected to go 1, they don't want to go to a certain team that they kind of try to negotiate through the media, I guess you could say. Is that more of that instance? Because I don't see the Saints, after what they did with Carr, making a move for a quarterback, especially if you have to go up to 1.
Well, I don't think Carr precludes you from doing something. I don't think Carr's like the long-term answer. I think he's just the answer right now, and I think their want to hang on to him is just because he's the best answer for today. And
yeah,
I think that's kind of reflected a little bit too within the way people are talking about him. I mean, this whole trade thing is floating out there a little bit, and that's because other teams need a quarterback, and Derek Carr actually has trade value. So he isn't the bum that everyone tries to make him out to be. He's fine. He's like the 16th, 17th best quarterback, and that guy has a little bit of value. And I think if you're Kellen Moore and you want to try to win, you hang on to him. But I don't think that should stop you at all from exploring an opportunity. And if all of a sudden Cam Ward falls to 2, 3, and there's people making calls willing to move out of their spot, I think you take those calls and you're open to it. I think they would love to get their hands on someone like him. I just don't think it's a realistic possibility right now. And your plans can change. You can go into a season wanting to do one thing, and then all of a sudden Cam Ward becomes magically available to you, or he falls, and it's this huge shock, and you're able to get him. Then all of a sudden you're sitting there and saying, okay, well, who does need Derek Carr? Or do we keep both these guys and then move off them after the season? But I think opportunity would shift the path of the team for sure if someone like that became available.
Yeah, speaking of quarterback for the Saints, Mel Kiper on his mock draft had the Saints taking Jackson Dart at 9. Like you said, Cam Ward was the only one that the Saints had slotted as a first. Do you see that being something real that the Saints would actually, look to do?
I would be shocked by that one. Just absolutely blown away, shocked. I could see Shedeur being a pick. I could see Cam Ward being a pick. I couldn't see Dart being the pick there. And I'm not necessarily sure I see a guy like worth the first 15, 20 picks in the draft when I watch him. Now, quarterback insecurity is a real thing, and right. People overdraft them all the time. And I think there's quarterbacks getting taken in the top 10, 15 that people don't have first-round grades on to take. I mean, that's just usually the way it goes. There usually isn't 32 total players with the first-round grade. So a lot of times you're drafting a second-rounder you like in the first round, just because that's the way things play out, or there's just not a lot of good depth in the draft or whatever. But yeah, I would be blown away by that one. I think he's a good player. I would be cool with him at 40, 42, 45, somewhere in that range. But at 9, that feels really, really rich to me. But I could see some team watching him and thinking he's their Bo Nix and falling in love with him. I wouldn't have liked the pick of Bo Nix last year either, and obviously that wouldn't have been the best analysis in the world either. He had a good season. Got in the right system and played well. But I think Dart does a lot of things good, and being good at a lot of things usually makes you like a second-round quarterback. I don't see anything that I would say is necessarily overwhelmingly great, and I think you want to be drafting a great trait when you're taking a quarterback in the top 10, and I don't see it there. I think he's a good player. I think he could be a good starter, but I don't know that he's worth the risk for me at 9.
When you continue to look at what the Saints need in the NFL draft, I think that's where a lot of people kind of their mind goes, and you can see what they've done in terms of the offseason negotiations, who you've signed, newcomers, and who you've re-signed, I still think there's a glaring omission on this roster, and it seems like you wrote about it a little bit as well, where's the talent on the outside? Like you try to look around for skill position players for Derek Carr because that's what he said he needs. And you do look at the roster, you go, he's not exactly wrong. You don't have a lot of playmakers on the outside, especially whenever you couldn't keep anybody healthy last year.
Yeah, it's a huge need. I thought it was the biggest need with the team last year. I thought they were a guy short last year, and then all of a sudden A.T. Perry's kind of looked at as if he's going to be the answer as the third receiver, and he can't get on the field at all. And I felt like that was a huge failing for their strategy of building this team. And I see it right there again. They have to do something to add another receiver there. I think you got two really good guys. I think Rashid and Chris are great building blocks. They can even be your best two receivers, but when you don't have a 6'3" guy that can go over the middle and make a physical play or make a close quarters catch in the red zone and be thrown open, I think it becomes extremely problematic for what you're able to do on offense. And I think it becomes a problem for Olave. He's not built to be the over-the-middle Mike Thomas type player. He should be your Z receiver on the outside. He should be beating people down the field. He shouldn't be asked to make a physical contested catch over the middle. That's not who he is. He doesn't even have the body type to be it. Like, there's some guys that can gain weight and get bigger and become more physical and more muscular. I think Chris has maxed out what he can actually physically do with his frame as far as adding muscle. So I think they have to get that guy. It's a problem for Carr. Carr's not someone that's going to win you a game. He needs help to win you games. And if you put enough pieces around him, I think he can direct you to get there. We've seen worse quarterbacks make runs before, but they just haven't gone all in on building this offense around him. And he's not the guy that's going to elevate other people. He needs to be elevated himself.
Do you think that there is a name in the draft, or is this something that they could try to do through free agency still? Because I saw the Cooper Kupp rumors where it felt like the Saints were interested in grabbing Cooper Kupp, and he obviously goes to Seattle. And so now it's starting to get more, and I guess more adding up to maybe you take a wide receiver at 9, and if you had any thoughts on who they might try to procure.
Yeah, the Cup thing was extremely real. They were in that until the end, and then it just went to Seattle. He's from out there, and I think they were willing to pay more money than the Saints. And hindsight being what it is, like, we'll find out if that was the right decision or not. But I do think that maybe once you get to like year 3 of a $45 million deal, if he makes it all 3 years, I don't know that you're going to feel great about that. But in the short term, if you could have got him on a 1-year deal, 2 years, nothing guaranteed really in the second year, I would have been in favor of that. 1 year at any cost. I don't care what you pay him if he's off your books after this season, but long-term commitment to a guy that's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years, maybe you dodged a bullet. We're going to see. But as far as the draft goes, I think the only receiver that really fits that type that we're talking about in the first round would be T-Mac from Arizona. And he had a decent pro day. Jeff Ireland was out there. He ran a 4.56. If he would have ran a little bit faster, I think he'd be like a slam dunk at 9. But really good player. You watch him play. He's been one of my favorite guys that I've watched so far in this draft class. Just a fluid mover. Grew up as like a very competitive volleyball player, and you kind of see that in how he plays with his body movements and everything. And I think he's a guy that can make plays for you, but there are some questions. I don't think the physicality is quite there to go along with his size and body type. There's some stuff that he could get stronger at. Not the best at getting off press. So there's some refinement that I think definitely needs to happen with him. But if you're taking someone, I think he's really the only one that would be worthy of that pick at 9.
Cam Jordan's new contract has lowered his cap number to below $10 million. What does that mean for the Saints moving forward?
Yeah, overall, cut that cap number in half. His actual salary, he went from making $12.5 million to just a little bit above $6 million this year. So I think you're paying him kind of what he's worth. He has $4 million in incentives. He can make $2 million in sack incentives. There's kind of different thresholds starting at 5 sacks, 6 sacks, and then each sack going up to 9. If he gets all of them, he gets $2 million. He only had 4 sacks last year, so that very first number is above the threshold he hit last year. And then the playing time stuff starts at 50% and goes up, and he can make another $2 million there. Last year, he played 48% of the snaps. So both thresholds exceed what he did last season, and that's kind of important because the way these bonuses work, let's say your bonus is at 9 sacks, and you had 10 sacks last year. You had 9 sacks last year. If that bonus is $2 million, it counts on this year's cap. But if you had 9 sacks last year and the threshold set at 10 and it's a $2 million bonus, that's considered not likely to be earned because you didn't hit it in the previous year. And it doesn't count on the cap until next year if you hit the mark. So if it's likely to be earned, whether you hit it or not, you have to account for that money on your cap right now. So they set that threshold above where he was at last year. So none of it counts on this year's cap, keeps that number down. And, I think that's the fairest way to do it probably for Cam. You had to cut that number down, but you give him upside to earn most of the money back if he has a great season, and then he gets paid what he's worth. And if he doesn't earn it back, he gets paid what he's worth. So kind of a team player type of move to stick with the team that drafted him, have a chance to finish his career here, maybe end it here at some point as a Hall of Famer. I think he needs a couple more sacks to kind of really hit that mark where he's a surefire Hall of Famer. I think he has a pretty good chance of getting in now, but yeah, I think he's still chasing it and made a move to try to finish his career where it started.
The last time we had you on, I believe you were going to meet with the staff as they did a meet and greet. What did you glean from the new staff and how everybody's kind of, because it felt like it was all like kind of positive reviews after you got out of there. So I wanted to see kind of what you learned about the new staff and who stood out to you and kind of how this kind of changing of the guard has happened in New Orleans.
It's definitely like a completely different energy, and it's kind of weird for the first time. I've been covering this team for a decade, and this was the first time it felt like they had new DNA and new points of view and people with different ideas and different thoughts. And obviously, there's been different people to come in overall. Kubiak last year brought in a whole new offense. So there's been a little bit of change, but it's always been within that structure of what kind of felt like Saints football. And look, I think this meet and greet thing is just like a good example of how things have changed. Sean Payton would have, this just wasn't the way he operated. He wasn't open. He wasn't, trying to know people or anything like that. And I think it's beneficial for us. I think it's beneficial for the fans if people kind of can relate to you as a human when you go to interview them. It kind of makes it a little bit easier to talk to them and maybe pull some interesting things out because they know who you are and they know kind of your point of view just from general interactions. But it seems like everyone's excited about the team. The one thing that a lot of people talk about is the injuries from last year and kind of held back the roster. They see talent there. They just see a need to keep that talent on the field. But I think, I think that there's a lot of interesting points of views. TJ Paginetti, the run game coordinator, is a younger coach who's done some really good things in the league. I talked to him for a while, and he has some just interesting thoughts on how to build things and how to do things. And, Brandon Staley is an interesting guy. I think he's very smart, has been really good as a defensive coordinator. Obviously has questions to answer, but I think his plan on how to put things together makes sense. So we'll see if it comes together in actuality. But I just think there's a lot of really good energy around the staff, and it seemed like a lot of excitement and that feeling of just, something new. It was kind of like the first day of school or whatever. And it's been a while since the Saints have had like that real first day of school. Leaving Sean and went to like that substitute teacher with DA. This just feels like, something fresh, and everyone's kind of excited to be there. So you can feel it, and we'll see where it goes. I think there's still tons of huge questions to answer, obviously, but I like the idea of the staff, and I like the stuff they're saying.
The one more guy that I wanted to hit on, I don't know if you got to talk to him or not, but Ted Rath, the new director of sports science for the New Orleans Saints. As we talked, like, injuries have been a massive deal for New Orleans, and it felt like something that they couldn't get a handle on. They didn't know why or when or who. They just said injuries are the problem. If bringing this guy that worked for the Rams and the Eagles and now surrounded himself with success and been a part of winning football, how big of a deal is that moving forward if you can cut down on injuries?
I think he's sort of kind of one of the most important people on the staff in a roundabout way just because of how big that problem was. And he was a 2-time like trainer of the year or whatever the award they give to the trainers, the sports science people. He's won it twice. So he's somebody that knows how to do the job. Tripp talked to him for a while, and he's going to write a story on it next week on our site. I didn't talk to him myself out there because Tripp had him cornered, and I let him kind of do his thing. So two-headed approach there. But yeah, he's incredibly interesting. He's been a lot of good places, like you said. He's been around the right people, and he seems like he knows what he's doing. And just change there, I thought was the most important thing. On the team, and even Rizzi kind of changing it up at the end of the season with the activation periods and looking at things a little bit differently. We saw a change there. Now bringing in somebody with like a plan and awards and plaques on his wall to show that he knows how to do this, I think it can only help. And look, I do think that the Saints have players that are just injury risks, though. Like Eric McCoy has missed a lot of time over the last few years. Taysom Hill misses time. Chris Olave has missed time. Rashid Shaheed has missed time every year. He's been in the league. Demario Davis finally started missing time last year. Like, there are going to be injuries. You aren't ever going to get that number to zero. And I think with some of the players they have, they draft guys later and sometimes even high that have injury risks but upside. So there are just times where that's going to bite you, but I think it can be significantly better than it was last year. In these preventable injuries, the hamstrings, the oblique strains, the groin strains, like there's stuff you can do to avoid that stuff. And, if he's as good as his resume says, Ted Rath should have a positive impact on that area of the team.
Well, great stuff, morning. What do y'all have coming up over at NewOrleans.football coming soon?
Hopefully they sign somebody or do something so that we got some stuff to grind out. Yeah. Just kind of in wait and see mode right now. And, if not, just start analyzing it. And then we're in draft season pretty much right now. Next week are the league meetings. And then after that, it's just kind of all draft from there on out.
Well, all right. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Great stuff as always. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Yep, great stuff from Nick this morning. Great information as always from Nick over at NewOrleans.football. Don't forget to check them out as you get ready for the NFL draft in about a month or so. I think McMillan's got to be the pick at 9, the wide receiver out of Arizona. Christian, I know you're kind of a Saints faithful. What do you see? What do you want to happen at 9?
I want Will Campbell to fall.
Oh yeah.
But look, I don't think that's going to happen. McMillan feels like a pick that the Saints would go with, like wide receiver.
Right.
And do you really need another wide receiver, though? I mean, you don't have much, but I feel like you have the necessities in that room. I'd like them to build that defense up, and also maybe even like them to go get a good tight end.
Yeah. Tyler Warren was the guy that Nick brought up last week as who he thought the Saints were favoring, the tight end out of Penn State. I think if you can get Mason Taylor in the later in the draft, that would be a home run hit. Because he's a professional, as we've seen over the last 3 years. That's a professional tight end in Mason Taylor. But great stuff as always. Don't forget LSU baseball this weekend versus Texas. LSU women's basketball gets the tournament started Saturday night at 9:15. If they win that, they will turn around and play again on Monday in the PMAC once again. So an exciting month coming up here in March for LSU sports. We are going to go through some plans, try to see if we can get a little watch party going late night on Saturday at 9:15 tip-off. I'm assuming they just figured that LSU fans were going to show up regardless and went with the easiest time slot at 9:15.
Oh, you didn't see what Kim Mulkey said?
No, what did she say?
Like, this is Baton Rouge on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly what they're bored and bred for this. This is not a late game for LSU. And she was talking about, like, look, we do have some older generations in there. I get it. But not 15. He goes, if I remember Kramer, that's when he was going to the bar. And so get a pregame in and be able to go to women's college basketball for LSU. And then you can still probably go out 11. Stay out till 2.
11's not that late.
No.
You can probably still make it to the Texas Club for Red, Rock, and Blue.
Oh, my goodness.
Just getting started.
Get in the Sprinter van with Jacques.
There you go.
I found
about
myself,
White Lotus.
Hey, I found myself in otter situations before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, come on, hop in. Okay.
Why not?
Why not?
Can we play that? Can we play the watch party for the women's game with a March Madness watch party as well, like the men's tournament?
Well, yeah, and we'll have LSU baseball will be starting at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. on Saturday. So we're gonna sit down and hash it out. Justin shot me a little text earlier. He was like, "Do you think this could be a good weekend for a watch party for LSU baseball?"
Justin does have the pulse.
He does. He loves some LSU baseball. I'll tell you what. If you didn't see it yesterday, we put out the Rally Time podcast from Justin and Christian, the young men, as they talk some LSU baseball, recapping the win over Missouri on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That'd be a sweep, brother.
Beautiful little sweep for the Tigers. They start SEC play. Also, practice footage that was procured by our man Christian here to my left was put out on our YouTube channel as well yesterday. Make sure you check that out. It gets a good look at some special teams work, some offense, some defense, all around. You get a good look at all of it. So good stuff from Christian and Justin there.
Was still bad.
I have heard not very good reports on the punting for LSU. They've got one long snapper.
Hell yeah. Get that work in, cuz.
And so he's getting all the work. And then I've heard that it just hasn't quite come together.
Badger's still out there, though.
Badger's still out there.
Let's go.
Our guy. He's putting out TikTok videos as well.
Of how to punt?
Of some punt, kick, pass type different
he's
things
doing the
like
Andy
that.
Reid competition.
You know,
Doing the
he's doing
Ramos
some.
thing.
He's doing some good content there. But yeah, our guy Badger's still out there.
I thought he was going to win the job for a second.
It was really up in the air between all three of them last year.
Yeah.
Is it Todd? Is it Big Oceandorf? Is it Badger?
Well,
They're all three not very good at last year, so I mean it was really up for grabs.
But Badger was easy to kind of look at and laugh at because he's my height. He's like 5'6".
But he was booming punts.
Yeah, and you had Peyton Todd who's 6'5" and Oceandorf who's 6'3", and he's like, well, that must be the walk-on clearly, as he's not the. This is not the same as the rest.
Right.
And then he started booming balls. You're like, dude, why not?
Yeah, no, there's sometimes he'll get a hold of it and it'll be like, okay. And then
while you're back here.
after that, you know, it could be a shank off the left
Yeah.
side of his foot, and it's like, ooh.
The consistency isn't quite there.
You're hoping your guy Chadwick can come in and make something happen. Big
Yeah.
Grant Chadwick from Middle Tennessee, because
You've seen he can do it.
But one thing I have heard, speaking of punt, is there have been some blocked punts. So this is kind of on that discussion of, you know, spring gaming against another team. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that punts have been blocked at spring camp?
It's not a good thing.
Well, is it a good thing that, you know, you're finally blocking punts? Or is it a bad thing that your punts are being blocked?
I think it only be bad in spring.
Yeah. Unless it's DJ Pickett.
Unless it's DJ Pickett blocking.
Because he's going to come off. He's going to catch a
Maybe
field.
he'll punt him. Maybe he'll start punting.
That'll be fine with me.
That's cool. I'm cool with it.
Or I'm sure Garrett can probably do like a quick kick.
Jawan Johnson can probably punt. I mean, he does
why
everything
not?
else.
Why not?
Let him punt.
But I do think DJ Pickett's going to block one off the edge. It's like a field goal.
I mean, his arms
he's
are...
too long
he's
not
so
to.
lanky.
What if he's returning them?
No, you've got too much speed. Aaron Anderson, Xavion Thomas, Berrien Brown. I'm part of the camp of put all three of them back there.
I would love to see it.
Yeah,
just run the triple option.
That would be electric.
If you just rugby styled it, ran it back with those three, I mean, it could be a disaster, but you could score like 6 special teams touchdowns.
Be awesome.
It's the part where people laugh at us until you see it happen.
Yes.
Like the Pardon My Take guys, they're like a fake punt. Like where you fake a punt but then punt it.
Punt.
And it happened. And they were talking to Sean McVay. He's like, did you see they ran a fake punt? He's like, I told you it's not stupid. Having 3 back there to return a punt is not dumb when you have that much speed back there.
That'd be awesome.
You put 2 back on kick.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It's 3 on punt.
It's just
as long as you block up the edges.
There you go. You're good to go.
And you have to spread them out. They don't know where the ball is. You don't even need to block them. Let them run down there and pick a guy.
When they can all three kind of pretend like they caught it, you don't know who to tackle.
You can lay down.
Come on.
Do we want to do an immaculate grid?
Yeah, I see. Hunter Hall, Mr. Hunter Hall, put it in the chat. A little immaculate grid. Should we do football, basketball? What do you want to do? Football? You kind of got in your bag last time we did football.
Did I?
Yeah.
What did we talk about?
Do what?
What was it?
Just we did the immaculate grid, and you started showing
my prowess.
Your prowess of these throwback guys, because that's the one benefit of the immaculate grid is it has, you know, it's not just current players. You can go back in the day. Because we'll do a basketball one when we have Schwartz on. We'll do another basketball grid because he balled out last time.
I just don't like the immaculate. I guess because you can use every player in the history of the franchise, you should only get 9 guesses. Like if you can't name one,
right?
But the 9 guesses is brutal.
Yeah,
you can't get anything wrong.
Backs you into a corner. It does back you into a corner, that's for sure. We'll see if Christian can use his brain. We do appreciate you answering the phone last time to get the soccer names. That was good.
And the ones I missed those are like.
It would have been easier if you
like
could
60s.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I wish I could have been here to do the.
Well, you would have called us out
too.
because what's his face? Who's the French guy?
Henri?
No, who's the really good French guy?
Mbappe?
He was one of them, but we didn't even say the name of that team to you. Whatever the team that he plays for was.
PSG?
Yeah. It didn't even click in my head.
Really?
And so but you would have got that one.
Yeah.
All right, a Falcon with 3,000 passing yards. A Falcon that was also a Brown. A Falcon that was a Lion.
Oh, my.
All right.
Well,
Buccaneers, Lions, Cowboys, Lions, Cowboys, Browns. So I guess we can do the 3,000 passing yards first because that'll be the easiest. For the Falcons, 3,000 passing yards.
Matt Ryan, Michael Vick. You
Kirk
think Brett?
Cousins, Brett Favre.
Do you think he got to 3,000? That's not that many.
Well, he got 3,000 somewhere, just not with the Falcons.
Yes,
He also
I
played for the
forget
Falcons.
that he doesn't have to do it there, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Should we just go safe, or do you want to do Brett?
Let's do Brett.
Let's do Brett. Let's get
And then we'll have to. We could stop asking.
Yes, just answer the question.
No, I'm saying we could stop. Like that's our. Like, is it for just one team or is it for all
Right.
of us? We'll find out right now. It's
Nope.
not.
No.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So just do Matt Ryan
Vic.
or Vic. Yeah.
All right. Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. Give up, restart. Well, we didn't want to have to use that one. That one's so
we're out
easy.
of guesses already.
Well, did Ritter couldn't have? He didn't have 3,000.
Okay. Cowboys.
Oh, it's in a season.
Cowboys 3,000 passing yards.
Tony Romo.
Yeah, gotta be. Dak. God, we've already cooked ourselves.
Yeah, I didn't know it was. I didn't know it was in a season.
Yeah, it's all right.
But that still it does answer the question that it has to be for the Falcons.
Who's the bottom one? The Buccaneers 3,000 passing yards. Jameis Winston. He went 5,000, 30 touchdown, 30 picks. Legendary season.
Then he got eye surgery.
And then he got LASIK. Came to the Saints and ripped that deep ball to Deontay Harris against the Packers, and I thought the Saints were going to be Super
I don't know
Bowl
if Aikman
champions.
had
They were
a
6-2.
3,000 yard season.
The Saints were 6-2.
He didn't throw for as many yards as you think.
Dak's definitely had a 3,000
Yeah.
yard season.
All-time year by Jameis, you're right.
Yes, legendary season. All right. So the Lions and the Cowboys, I feel like should be easy because these are two very.
We have a guest in the chat.
For this one,
Bruce Irvin for Falcons and Lions.
Yep. And then Kitna for Lions and Cowboys.
We're only
Wow,
at
0.3%. Great call.
Sabrion. And then Kitna for the Lions and Cowboys.
We only
He
got two
did,
guesses
didn't he?
after this.
Then we got two guesses left. Great picture.
Never even heard of that guy. 36%. Damn.
I think they went 0-16 when he was the quarterback of the Lions.
Okay.
And then that's where you got your famous Dan Orlovsky running out
Yep.
the back of the end zone because he got hurt.
Lions and Bucks. Browns, Falcons, Browns, Cowboys, Browns, Bucks.
Lions and Bucks.
Oh, Amari Cooper, Browns, Cowboys.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Messina.
Only
Figure
get one
Connor
more
Hall will get
guess.
that one. We got one more guess. What should we use it on?
Testaverde for Browns and Cowboys.
We just did that one.
Did that one. All right, that's a good guess, though.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny. Browns, Falcons.
Browns, Bucks, Lions, Bucks.
Browns, Bucks, we could go Jameis again.
Yeah. Are we able to go twice?
I don't know.
No, I think what you use them, you use them.
They're gone.
Did Devontae Freeman go anywhere after the Falcons?
Already used, yeah.
That's interesting. Devontae Freeman, the running back.
Yeah. Or Turner.
Turner the burner.
The old Falcons running back Turner, Michael Turner. No, that's a
Michael Turner's a DB for
LSU
LSU.
cornerback. Yeah.
No, he was a running back.
Wow.
Was his name
Yeah.
Michael?
He was I think he was a.
Oh, Baker Mayfield. Bucks, Browns.
Oh yeah, well.
Oh yeah. It's our last one.
That's
It was like
Messina.
99%.
Yeah,
Close
it's okay.
enough.
We failed this class anyway, boys.
Yeah.
We did, yep.
Time to drop it.
That's all right. That's on us.
Yep, it is. It is. It's on us. It's all right. Should we do a Wordle
Yeah.
to make ourselves feel good? If we actually complete it.
Did y'all had trouble completing it last time?
No, I think we got it last time.
I think we got it like third guess last time.
I think we did. I think we did pretty good at the Wordle last time.
Sports Wordle?
I think there is. I think it's called
what, Weddle?
Weddle.
Where we guess a football player. Turner to the burner.
Yeah, but it's not set up like this, right? It's set up differently.
Yeah.
The Dominican Sue.
Here we go.
What about him?
He was. Could have done him instead of Baker.
Oh.
That's okay.
All right. Wordle, here we go. I do the same first word every time. So if y'all want to change it up, feel free.
I need to get the. Where's my keyboard? It does this to me sometimes.
Yep.
What's your word you go with?
I do raise. R-A-I-S-E. Because it's got 3 vowels and 2 common consonants.
Yeah, maybe we could do one with a U. Gauze.
Gauze. That's a good one. Gauze.
All right.
Christian's first word. Oh, Biggest wants to do adieu. A-D-I-U-I-E-U.
Surprised he doesn't want to do clone.
He could.
I guess we could do clone. Yeah, do clone instead.
We're gonna clone for Biggest. Big Biggest show.
Biggest show today. Cloning here on Wordle.
Oh.
No clone. Can't clone.
Can't clone is way off.
Do adieu. Do his word. A-D-I-E-U.
Watch him know it.
E-U.
EU?
Yeah.
Adieu.
I bid you adieu.
Oh, that's actually a very good guess.
Okay, so we've got an A.
Somewhere.
All right. Do party. P-A-R-T-Y.
I know how to spell that.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. P-A-T-T, if you know, you know. Oh,
okay,
wow.
okay.
Say it.
No. Grape.
That was awesome. Yeah, grape is a good one. No, there's no E. No E.
Oh.
Grasp. Oh, I felt good. I felt good about
me
that.
Me too.
Oh, I did. I felt good about that. Okay.
Biggest says spark.
Yep, spark. I was just about to say something. S-P-A-R.
Well, let's turn him a clone if he gets it. Oh, never mind. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Yes, Biggest.
And Hunter Hall. No cloning.
There you go. Yep, it was spark.
Oh wait, no, that was Hunter Hall who said that. Not
Yeah,
we already
Biggest
corrected
say,
that.
Yeah. Biggest doesn't get to
job.
clone.
No.
Got him again.
No.
It's okay, man.
That one you actually got me.
Shake back.
Damn
Shake
it.
back, brother. Enjoy your date tonight. Everybody else enjoy their days. We appreciate y'all this morning.
Don't grape.
We will be back tomorrow morning from 7 to 9 with more of the Jordy Culotta Show.
You think he's going to clone?
Oh, he's cloning.
Christian clone.
It wasn't
me or
me,
Biggest?
LMAO.
We know Biggest is clone.
We know Biggest is cool.
We can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving nails like I know love and I can't lose.